financial aid. So there are four types of financial aid. There are scholarships, grants, work study, and loans. And after you have applied to the colleges and universities that you're interested in attending, after you have been accepted to those institutions, you then will receive a financial aid package. This is how it is by category, this is how it's put together. So they will always start with free money, which is the scholarships and grants, then money you work for, which is work study, and loans, which is money that you'll borrow and then pay back at some point. So in looking at financial aid award letters, something to keep in mind is that one, there's different names for financial aid award letters. It could be financial plans, it could be award, what's the other? Financial aid award documents. Like the language is all different, but it's all the same information on there. So as you can see in this visual, we have Cal State Long Beach, which has a award letter where it starts off talking about the expected family contribution. So based on your FAFSA or CADA, it'll have your EFC, which for this school is at the top. Then the total cost of attendance for that school year, whether you choose on or off-campus residence, and it'll give you a breakdown of what the actual costs are. So tuition and fees, housing and meals, books and supplies, transportation, and other educational costs. And that could be anywhere from, if you're an art major and there's fees attached to some of the classes that you'll take, then you'll have that put in the cost of attendance. So for the 2021 school year, the total cost of attendance for Cal State Long Beach is around a little under $24,000 a year. Now, with this package, you also see it's separated by scholarships and by grants. So you'll see what is available to students. So they have merit-based scholarships from your school, from your state, other scholarships that maybe you apply to outside of the institution that they have received the money for, employer paid tuition benefits. There are some employees such as Starbucks and McDonald's that, depending on your educational journey, they'll pay for some of that. And then grants on this side. So if you qualify for the federal Pell Grant, then that would show up there. Institutional grants, depending on your GPA and what your major are. State grants. So if you qualify for Cal Grant A, B, C, or even middle class scholarship, that would be in this section. So based on this student's financial aid award letter, they're not receiving any scholarships or grants. So at the bottom, it says the college cost you are required to pay is that $24,000. Let's look at a different example where they're being offered a little bit more. So the estimated cost of attendance for this student is $44,000. And a lot of what I'll say before I even continue is you want to look at your award letters. You want to really see, one, how they're breaking it down. Are they breaking it down by semester or quarter? Are they breaking it down by the type of aid that it is? Are they breaking it down by what is paying for what? You really want to look at that. It is going to change depending on the school. Unfortunately, there's no common practice of the financial aid award letter. So really doing the math, sitting with your family, sitting with a friend and saying, okay, so like, how much do I really need to pay? It's worth finding out. So that's why we're going through this today, so that you know. So for this particular student, the estimated cost of attendance for this school is $44,000. And you see here that the award description of what free money, right, is being offered to them. So they're getting a Pell Grant, a federal SEOG grant, and some scholarships, which equal about $10,000 per semester. Now, they are offering federal work study. And one thing to keep in mind about federal work study is even if it's offered on your award letter, you still have to do the work to get the job. So you do need to apply for it. You need to interview for it. And once you get the job, then this particular pot of money on your financial aid award letter will then be used. So you don't necessarily want to calculate it in what is it that I need to pay for, because you do need to go out and actually get the job. It's not something that's guaranteed, but it is something that's offered if you check the box on your FAFSA or CADA. So the total amount award that this particular student is being offered is $17,000. That's the net price. Now, in this scenario, there's a student that is being offered two types of loans. They're being offered a subsidized loan, and they're being offered an unsubsidized loan. Subsidized loans are loans that do not generate interest while you're in college. So since this student is being offered $3,500 in that student loan, that's the amount that they will pay. There will be no interest acquired from while they're still in school. It will start once you graduate or no longer are attending at an institution. The unsubsidized loan, on the other hand, will start accruing interest as soon as you take out the loan. So the number will start increasing in the 3, 4, 5, 6 years that you are in college. So that's something to keep in mind when you're taking out loans, should you need them. And the student is being offered $5,500 in loans. So if we're doing the math, we take the $44,000, we subtract it from the $27,000 that they're being offered, and we get a $17,000 difference. And they're offering $5,500 in loans. So the remaining we'll need is about $11,500. So you say to yourself, okay, that's a lot. $11,000 is a lot. It's not something I'm not able to just write a check for $11,000. That's a lot, even though I've demonstrated my financial need on my FAFSA or CADA. So with that, appealing your financial aid might be an option for you. And this is where this webinar and presentation comes in handy, really. So there are many reasons why people would need to appeal their financial aid award letter. Now, it could be anything from the parent or guardian's job loss, income change in the 2020-2021 school year. Current EFC is an inaccurate snapshot of recent family financials. There's death in the immediate family or household, a recent disability, divorce or separation, experiencing homelessness or housing insecurity, abusive family environment or abandonment, excuse me, or healthcare expenses. Something to keep in mind is that with COVID-19, a lot of this has happened to a lot of the students that CalSOAP LA works with. And it's really about seeing what your current situation is, because the FAFSA and CADA are asking for the 2019 taxes. But in 2020, we know a lot of things changed for a lot of students, a lot of people in general. So a really good reason to appeal are these. So if you fall into that box or fall into one of these options, it may be an option for you to appeal so that you can possibly have more access to money. Now, I do want to give you a couple of appeals processes. So, for example, UCLA has their own appeals page on their school's website. And it's something that you'll want to, depending on what schools you get into, you'll want to look to see if they have an appeals process. So UCLA does have an appeals process. And you want to make sure that you're looking out for the deadlines for the appeals and any other information that might help you with your process. So looking at UCLA's, they said that their deadline is 3 weeks prior to the end of the academic year. Some funding may be limited, so try to submit your appeal as early as possible. So that's good information to know, right? Also, something that they have in bold in their appeals process is if the expected family contribution on your student aid report is 0, submitting a projected year income appeal for students and parents will not further decrease your EFC. Given that 0 is the lowest EFC number, you have been offered the maximum amount of financial aid available. And it also shares that appeals typically take 10 to 15 business days to process. So you really want to look at what schools you've been accepted to, what their process is, and maybe see like what makes the most sense. Do you need to send in appeals or something else? Now, another example is Arizona State University. So something that is out of state, a school that is out of state, and they have a website, or they have a tab on their website, but it's really PDFs. So as opposed to maybe going onto a portal, they actually want you to send a filled out document to the financial aid office with the said information that you want to share with them about your financial situation. So for this particular example, the student is filling out what's called a parent review. So this has everything to do with reassessment of the 2019 income information. And again, with this, if your family already has an EFC of 0, this is not something that you want to fill out. So it's asking you to check all the boxes that apply, and then it'll show you where to send the form. Now, I do want to bring to your attention that this is for Arizona State University. This is what their website looks like I said. So it's a bunch of PDFs, and you'll see that it is not just about parents. It's about dependency status. It's about academic project. It's about academic progress, excuse me. It's about student budget. It's your income reduction review. So they'll give you options, depending on the school, will give you particular options on what document to fill out. There's not one document for all the situations or reasons to appeal. There could be multiple. So you do want to make sure that you're looking at all of the possible documents should there be tabs for it. Now, this is a really great resource should the school that you've applied to, they don't have either an appeals process or documents that you can fill out. It's called FormSwift, and it's a really great resource, not only because it can help guide you through what should go in the document to the school, but also what documents you need in order to have your best chances at accurately communicating your situation. So, for example, ask the financial aid office to exclude parental information when they calculate my financial aid, or ask for financial aid to cover my childcare costs, ask for financial aid to cover a computer or other supplies that I need for school. There are great templates that are already formulated, and all you have to do is plug in the information that makes sense for you. So for this example, we are going to go through ask for more financial aid if my financial situation changes after I fill out the FAFSA. So here's another visual of that. If you go into the website, you click on the one that we just chose, they'll ask you for your name. You can put your email address, which will then populate on the document that you'll see side by side with this visual. So you'll go through it. And for example, because we chose our financial situation has changed, the question is what aspects of your financial situation are not fully captured in the FAFSA? So again, those reasons that we shared earlier around immediate family member passing, loss of job, loss of income, homelessness, this is where you would use this box here at the bottom to explain your situation that is not currently communicated to the school. Because again, the school is using the 2019 tax forms. And if that's not where you currently are, you want to explain why. So this is your chance to do that. And the cool thing, again, about FormSwift is that as you answer the question, it will build a letter for you. So you don't have to worry about formatting. There's already language in there that financial aid departments speak, and you're only answering the clearest part of your situation, your most unique part of the situation. So that's the really cool thing about it, is because you don't have to come up with, what do I have to ask the financial aid officer? What do I say? I don't know what to say about whatever was going on in your situation. So that's the cool thing about this particular program, is that it just self-generates. All you have to do is like plug in those key information pieces, and then you send it off with the attached documents. So let's talk about a couple of tips, which I've mentioned before, which is one step you can do is really talk with your financial aid office to see what they offer when students appeal. So you've looked at your financial aid package. You've said, okay, I have $5,000 that I have to pay out of pocket that I can't, or it's $11,000, or it's $12,000, or it's $20,000, and it's a lot for me. And maybe my parent had a full-time job, but now they're only working part-time. Call your financial aid office and say, hey, I'm curious about what this process looks like for your school. And can you tell me what the benefits are for going through the appeals process? And they'll be happy to share with you like what the process looks like and what has been made available for students that do appeal. And then also have someone read the statement and documents you're sending. So a lot of times when you do appeal, you can't just send the actual like PDF from the school or even from FormSwift. You want to make sure that you also have attached documents that apply to the situation that you're trying to communicate. So that could be anything from bank statements, retirement statements, unemployment documentation, layoff paperwork, letters from social services representatives, divorce or separation documentation, disability paperwork, hospital bills or medical bills. These all give the committee that looks at appeals an accurate snapshot of what you're currently experiencing. So if we know that the FAFSA is for 2019 and we're in 2021 and something happened in 2020 that changed the real accurate snapshot of your expected family contribution, these are documents that you want to provide them. Now, I always like to tell our students and parents that you want to make sure to block out your social security numbers. If they're in this documentation, make a copy and send the copy to the school, but try not to have your social security number or any of that kind of information on there. So that's sensitive information, but you do want to have it where maybe you have your parents' name is on there, the date in which, for bank statements, the months in which they were no longer working, or the unemployment letter that was given to their parent or given to the student, should they have been financially taking care of themselves in 2020. If you experienced homelessness or were in a shelter, usually there is a social services rep of some kind. So you would be able to get a letter from them saying, this particular student was in our facility for this long, that kind of stuff. So you want to make sure to really, whatever you write for your reasoning for why they should consider your appeal, you want to also attach appropriate documentation to that as well. One thing that I was speaking to a colleague about yesterday or the day before was about foster care. And with foster care, you could have been there a day, a week, 15 days. If that changed from you were with a family member to now you're in foster care, that's something that you want to use to appeal to your school. because that does change the financial interpretation of what you can provide for yourself. And so using these documents to prove that will help the school figure out how to support you. Now, this is our final thought about this is that your possible outcomes are not always free money. You want to really adjust your expectations for appealing. Appealing has everything to do with giving the school an accurate representation of your current situation. So the outcomes could be that they lower your EFC. From the visual we had earlier, where the EFC was, I think, about $5,000, they may say, okay, it's at zero. Now, it may offer you some scholarship opportunities based on what you're appealing with. So maybe you were a parent and you lost your significant other, and now you're a single parent. So there's scholarship opportunities for single parents at the said school. So that isn't a possible outcome. There could be school grants depending on your situation. If you're a foster youth, then you may have access to a different pot of money that you didn't prior to the appeal. They may, which is most common, is give you access to either more student loans or to parent plus loans, depending on how and what you're appealing. So really adjusting your expectations for what it could look like. The school is not entitled to give free money should someone appeal, but there could be other ways in which they can support you. So be open to what that can look like, because it's not always grants and scholarships. All right. So this is time for you to ask questions. It was a really short presentation, a really short webinar, because appeals are pretty straightforward. They are all about filling out the paperwork, making sure you have your documents sent to them in a timely fashion, and then getting an answer of what the possible outcomes can be. And you can use that to really compare your financial aid offer letters from multiple schools. You can see, okay, if I'm only being offered enough to pay for 80% at Cal State Long Beach, but at Cal State LA, they're paying about 90% of my tuition. Let me see. You'll be able to really gauge what school you want to go to financially along with academically. So the more you pay attention to your financial aid award letter, the more you'll be able to make an informed decision about life after high school. So with that, if you have any questions, you can please use the chat or unmute yourself. Well, I don't know if that's possible in this platform, but yes, if you have any questions or thoughts, we are here to answer them. And if you're typing them, one thing I do want to highlight is connect with us. Connect with CalSoap Los Angeles. We are virtually everywhere. And you can find us on calsoapla.org. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. This particular webinar is being recorded. So in a couple of days or a week or so, it'll be uploaded to our YouTube page. Our YouTube page has a good chunk of everything from filling out the FAFSA to creating your SIR or student intent to register, or your student aid report, how to look at that, or just a plethora of information on all things financial aid in the community college all the way to the 4-year. So please feel free to connect with us. And if you have any questions, we also have staff, our beautiful staff below, who can answer questions as well. You can send the messages on Instagram. Most of them have Instagram, so you'll be able to find us.